What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Savage.
Whee! Who else gets this excited about 5 old men in a room? Man, and we're back. One Piece. 1037 is out. Yeah, we got some lore, people. Well, I mean, really, we got more questions than answers, but hey, you know, that's One Piece. That's what we signed up for. So this is one of those chapters where you have to read every single translation to sort of formulate your opinion on what's going on here, okay? Because there are a lot of things that are getting lost in the context here because there is a superb lack of context. I can say almost with certainty that the Gorosei are not talking about Zunesha. What I think that the government ships are seeing is Onigashima, like in the sky, or potentially some other giant creature. Because if there is a giant Zunesha, there should be other giant things, similar to how there are all different types of sea kings, and I think that Zunesha is like a land king, and there's got to be other giant animals out there in the world. All right, so let's really get into the meat and potatoes here. Let's dive into this buffet like it's the end of an arc, right? Who are the Gorosei talking about? More likely than not, they are talking about Luffy. Now, I know that this will upset people because everybody's like, I don't want the Chosen One story, but you're reading a Chosen One story. We've known it was a Chosen One story since post Enies Lobby, all right? Up until that point, it really just seemed like, you know, this kid who started from the barrel came up and rose in the ranks and, you know, took on the world government. Then Garp shows up and says, hey, I'm the hero of the Marines and your grandfather. Your dad is the most wanted criminal in the world. And then later on, we find out that his hat was the former hat of the Pirate King given to him by an emperor of the sea. This boy is chosen. For more on that, you can check out my video about fate in One Piece, specifically, you know, regarding Luffy and Blackbeard. But on a reread, on a closer look, that teamed with chapter 1017 with Who's Who talking about the importance of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, that Shanks came and stole the fruit essentially from him while he was on a government ship protecting this fruit, right? So this fruit having another name kind of makes sense. If, you know, it's more important than we think it is, that we're led to believe, right? Which we are, and we have for quite some time. Now they're talking about a fruit that has yet to awaken, but they are scared of this awakening happening, right? And who is yet to awaken but Luffy, or at least it is my interpretation that they're talking about something that has yet to awaken. And that's why you have to look at, you know, every translation and all of that. But the context of the conversation that they're having, talking about Nico Robin, then talking about Kaido and Big Mom within the context of using them as a cover for getting rid of something else, right? So that something else could be Luffy, it could be Robin, but they're talking about capturing her, so it seems like they want her alive for some reason, instead of just killing her and eradicating her knowledge like they did with the rest of her people. So kind of strange there, but nonetheless. So anyway, let's talk about awakening. Okay, what could Luffy's awakening be? We've talked about this a couple of times. I've always been under the belief that whatever Luffy's awakening is, it really should be something intrinsic to him because he is not a producer, right? There are a lot of paramecia types that produce things. And for instance, we've seen the awakenings of Doflamingo and Katakuri, who produce string and mochi respectively. They make strings, they make mochi, they turn the ground into strings into mochi. Luffy does not produce rubber. He does not shoot rubber out of his hands, so I don't know if he'll affect the environment in the same way. I mean, it is cool to think that he could turn the ground into a bouncy castle, into a trampoline and stuff, and he may actually be able to do that. You know, there are the other wackier ideas that, you know, he's going to be the counter to the Gura no Mi, the earthquake fruit, because he can rubberize the air. Very interesting, right? But since everything that happens to him, much like Buggy, right, doesn't produce body parts, he just manipulates his own body, Luffy's power and his awakening should be something within him that just makes him different. And I've always thought that that means that he can grow into a giant, all right? Because if you watch any other, like, rubber power things, Mr. Fantastic and all of that stuff, they usually can use their power to, like, turn into a giant. If there is a big emphasis on Joy Boy, you know, a lot of people think that Joy Boy now had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, right? If he was able to awaken and turn into a giant, then that would make the giant straw hat at Mary Joa make a little more sense, right? If it was his and, you know, when he awakened and he turned into a giant, that's what his, you know, straw hat was. Maybe, right? Does that make Luffy too overpowered? Potentially. I mean, I don't think that we're gonna, you know, I was making a joke in the stream, but you know, I don't know if we're gonna get, you know, attack on Luffy and he like becomes so big that he can actually hold Onigashima and just walk it over to Zunesha and just plop it on top of Zo. That would be wild, right? I don't know if that's what's going to happen though. But I think at some point Luffy has to figure out a way to like blow enough air into himself that he becomes a giant, or at least, you know, like Kaido size. Right? Now they're going toe-to-toe. This was also sort of foreshadowed with Nightmare Luffy in a sense, because, you know, he buffed up Bound Man is kind of the same thing. He's definitely increasing his size, but I mean, I'm talking like, let's go full on with this. Could that be what the Gorosei is worried about? You know, is that an immense power that could, you know, stop things? In the stream, people were talking about, what if the awakening of Luffy's fruit is to erase things? And I thought that was interesting. It's a little wacky. It's a little out there. But what would that be? Luffy walks up to the red line and uses his awakening, and then it just starts to disappear. That would be interesting. You know, that's my interpretation of, like, what would he erase, right? What would they be worried about him erasing? The red line. The context is key here. And I saw a lot of people coming to me with a particular scene from Eni's lobby, where it was Lucci or Spandam. I think it was Lucci, actually, that talks about when you eat a fruit, right, you learn the name of the fruit. Now, people are taking this literally, like there is some omniscient voice that comes out, and once you take a bite of that fruit, it comes in and it says, Gomu Gomu no Mi. No. All right? What he was saying there was basically, you eat that fruit, you're going to know what fruit it is, because Kaku, you're going to be a giraffe. All right? So, yeah, don't take that too literally, guys. It's not you eat the fruit and then you learn what it is. I mean, you do, because you transform or you do something with it, right? In the same vein that American history books have been called out in recent years for spending way too much time on Christopher Columbus discovering America when he didn't, and he was a murderer and a rapist, but that's not in the book. And then they, you know, have sections about slavery, but it's just a footnote. And really, the whole chapter is more about how much of a hero Abraham Lincoln was, but not the trials and tribulations, you know, that everybody went through. So would be the same effect of the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia being written by the world government and curated by the Gorosei. If there was a particular name that they didn't want in there, it wouldn't be in there. If there was a particular fruit that they didn't want in there, it wouldn't be in there. If there was a name that they wanted to change 800 years ago, it would be changed. And 800 years later, who's going to remember what the name of the fruit used to be? History is written by the winners. This is why we have poneglyphs, to call these guys out. It's probably not something that's in wide circulation, considering that a lot of people in the, you know, the outer blues don't know about devil fruits or think that they're just myths. Probably would have kept it sort of an internal thing, right? That's why someone like Judge, who worked for Mads, had the book. Take a look at, like, the Catholic Bible. It has been written and rewritten so many times that it's like playing telephone. You know, they're not what it would have been at its initial draft. You know, it's what King James altered it to be, it's what this person changed it to be, etc., etc., etc. The Devil Fruit Encyclopedia was modified by the Gorosei. So you get your power, then you look at the book and you say, all right, well, I just turned into a giraffe, right? Ushi Ushi no Mi model Kirin. Okay. I just turned into rubber. Let me look in the book. Okay. Gomu Gomu no Mi. All right. Got it. But then, you know, you remove the white out and all that stuff. You look deeper and it's like, Hito Hito no Mi model giant. I'm just making it up. Erase fruit. You know, who knows, right? They do. Oda does. Now, it was brought up during the stream and later put on the Discord by Amrit Singh that the kanji used when the Gorosei are talking about erasing this fruit from existence, it's the same wording that was used during the Imu scene about, you know, which light needs to be extinguished from the world.
Another one.
It seems like whatever fruit they're talking about is something that they didn't want out in the world. Okay, from that perspective, you could start talking about some other fruits like Law's fruit, which we know is awakened now. And of course, my belief is that it is not capable of giving one immortality, but if you keep regrowing the fruit and refeeding it to somebody and then forcing them to use the perpetual life operation and offer up their remaining life, their lifespan to someone, eventually you could have a lot of years, right? But then you start ticking down to that, you know, those maybe double digits areas of years, and you're kind of like, hey, I need to get that fruit back because I need to, you know, feed it to some more slaves and get these years back up if I'm going to continue to survive. It's potentially that they lost that fruit, you know, during the whole Fisher Tiger thing. When he came to Marijoa and like freed the slaves and all that, a bunch of fruits seem to have gotten out at that point and needed to get recaptured, or at least that's my thought because the timeline matches up, right? Fisher Tiger goes to Marijoa, all of that stuff happens within the same year or the following year. Luffy and Law both get their fruits. So there's an importance there. So a lot of people were bringing up Tama in the stream as the person that the Gorosei could be talking about. Now, as one of the biggest supporters of Tama, especially as the apprentice that goes along with the Straw Hats after Wano, that is fun to me, but I don't think that that's what's going on here. For me, it's most interesting if they're talking about Robin, you know, from the context of everything, they're trying to capture Robin, all of this stuff. If they're talking about Robin's awakening, that could be something interesting. I don't know necessarily what that could be, or if Demonio Floor is what that is, right? Or, you know, could Robin, you know, turn into a giant or something like that? I mean, there's the potential for that as well. The fight between Luffy and Kaido is great, right? This was excellent. It was necessary. It was needed. Kaido, you know, getting drunk, a lot of fun, a lot of levels to his character have been added from just this one chapter. And him going through these stages of, you know, being drunk and all of that, you know, like drunken master style, apparently drinking ups his power. One of the most interesting things during the fight was we saw a new form of Kaido, sort of a blink and you miss moment. But when Kaido is in his general hybrid form, he has a very thin and slender nose. But right before he does the Ragnarok technique while drunk, it's a new form. His nose is completely different. You know, it's like it's a real schnoz. It resembles the guards in Impel Down. Could this be his awakened form? Could this be his normal form when he transforms, you know, into his hybrid form before doing something similar to what Rabalucci did to slender himself down, potentially? So there's a whole bunch that I want to talk about with Zunesha, all right? And rather than making this video 30 minutes long, I'm going to split this up into 2 different videos. All right, you know, I'll release this one now, and then a day or 2 from now, we'll continue the conversation talking about Zunesha and Zunesha's purpose. All right, I want to thank everybody that supports the channel. As always, I want to thank our new members. All right, that's Will Reynolds, and Oh Yeah Ginge for joining. I want to thank Fable and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Gabe C, Zoro's Sense of Direction, and Chad Elmer for rejoining, and Kib/Seaway for upgrading. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to everybody, to all 120 members of the Savage Pirates. And, stay tuned for more content. We're going to, I'm trying to set up a collab for the Break Week stream this week. So stay tuned for that. And man, another break. I just want to get into it. I want to get into it, guys. But we will. We're going to have a lot to talk about. All right. Thanks as always, everybody. And I'll talk to you real soon. Later.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.